Y'all. So, regardless to a lot of the fan division that has taken place throughout the years of watching The Housewives of New Jersey, whether you like some of the cast members, you don't like some of the cast members, I think or would like to think that one thing we all can agree on, regardless to where we stand, if we stand anywhere at all, is that the animosity this season has been so palpable that it's cringy to watch. And I am a Housewives of Jersey fan. As a matter of fact, it's my number one favorite franchise. Now, I go up for some of the other girls too, right? I have my top tier ones like Atlanta, Beverly Hills, New York, the older and newer cast, Orange County, but Jersey has always been my favorite. And again, I'm from New York, and Jersey still has always been my favorite. But it's like I have never been so uncomfortable watching through all the craziness that we've seen, throughout the seasons up until this one. What do y'all think? Like, again, is it just me? Like, let me know. And so, anyways, we'll get into it. So this is my review for Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 14, Episode 5. I'm Taina B, y'all, and I'm here to get it. And I got my notes and everything. I'm here to chat it up. This mouth is going to be going because I got a lot to say, okay? Doesn't mean you're going to agree, and you may, but understand it's some stuff coming. And so before I get started, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Shell Huff. Oh my gosh. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the comments that you left. At first, I was like, is this talking to me? Like little old me. Oh my God. I loved it. I lived. And I thank you so much for the encouragement and the motivation as well. And girl, listen, keep planting them cucumbers. Keep doing your thing, girl. Um, and so let's go ahead and hop into it, y'all. So we start off with Dolores, Frankie, and Gabby meeting for dinner. It's part of their tradition that they've been doing for 30 years. And again, I just love their dynamic so much. They were sharing, I believe Dolores was, that usually Brittany, Frank's fiance, and then Paulie, Dolores's boyfriend, will join them for dinner, but they had, other engagements or whatever the case. So the show must go on. And so I love to sidebar how Frank always orders his apple martini. I think it is just the cutest thing. You see this big old buff, good looking man, and you would think, oh, this man is about to get some cognac or some type of whiskey, like something hard. And this dude be like, let me get that apple martini, please. I love it. As they say, real men wear pink. I'm here for it. And so Dolores pretty much shares that she's thinking about or rethinking her living situation when it comes to Paulie, because she's been staying in the townhouse for over a year and she kind of gave up where she was living. But she doesn't want to start looking for houses or anything, with Paulie until he's divorced. Facts, fill you on that. And so Frank then goes to share his idea on how he'll propose to Brittany, right? And it's vastly different from his proposal to Dolores. And so Dolores is in her confessional and she pretty much, gives us the tea on how he proposed. And of course, it was kind of like, but you got to figure it was a different time. I can't say what their coins were looking like back then, but let's just say hypothetically and just for fun's sake that Frank probably was not making as much as he's making now, or probably didn't have as much. And I would like to hope that the love of it all was there, regardless of the proposal. And a lot of times people get fixated on that because everybody's here for the show of it all. But it's like, again, what that heart do though? What's that heart looking like? What's the intent, of the proposal? I can go in on the proposal that I had, but it meant everything to me. I had rollers in my hair, okay, just to show you. It wasn't no fancy dinner or anything like that, but I was so moved by the fact that my husband was moved in that moment that he couldn't even wait to propose, during whatever he had planned. Like he had to do it in that moment. So I was elated, and to me, it's the authenticity of it all. So anyways, Frank then pulls out the ring and he practices his fake proposal on Dolores. But you got the spectators in the restaurant. And so once she says yes, everybody's also, oh, getting excited. They're like, oh no, hold the phone. Like, no, this ain't that. We've been there, done that. We're just kind of rehearsing. So I thought that was really funny. The ring was beautiful. I believe Dolores said it's like 10 carats or something like that. And I'm sure Brittany will love it and has probably been anticipating it. But anywho, so now we go to the scene where we have Melissa, Danielle, Rachel, and they're meeting up with their boys. They do a little go-kart racing, have a little bit of fun. So even before the girls sit down, sidebar, the way Melissa was ordering salads, Caesar salads, and some drinks, I was like, girl, and what else? That's it? We're done? We're done with placing the order? Like, now I love a good Caesar salad, right? I go up for a Caesar salad, but what else we doing with that? I need a little bit more substance. And so the way I felt so relieved when they flashed and showed Rachel food is sitting there with some chicken tenders and fries, I was like, well, thank you, Jesus. God is real, because to be hungry, eating some lettuce, no, ma'am, absolutely not. Now, I am a firm believer, and I've been watching out for my health these days and trying to get myself in order on cutting back. But it's like we ain't checked out of here yet. Let's still enjoy ourselves. Again, spoken from a true foodie. There's no way I could just live off of salads. And I'm like, no wonder Melissa is as petite as she is, because just while it was just that scene, y'all know Melissa don't be eating like that. Well, let me rephrase. She eats, because I don't want anyone to take that correctly. When I say like that, I mean, like, I'm sure everything she touches is healthy. With the exception of alcohol, because I do know that she likes to drink, but she keeps it super clean, and that's great. Listen, if you can eat clean like that 24/7, more power to you. So anyways, Danielle pretty much, tells the girls that she's hosting a bougie brunch or I should say, where the other ladies will be invited to come. She didn't invite everyone to Fashion Week because she's limited in her amount of tickets that she gets. I think she said it's only 10 tickets. However, she lets Melissa know that Melissa is invited. Hold that thought, okay? Because we're going to come back to that. And so, or we're going to visit that later on. And so Melissa discloses she'll be having a sit down with Jennifer Aiden, and briefly talks about the awkward encounter in the locker room that she had with Teresa and whatever, how she still had her son go speak, blah, blah, blah. And so that prompts, Danielle to kind of bring up the fact that, she still hasn't spoken to her brother, and she hasn't spoken to her dad in like a year, in which she begins to get emotional. And then Melissa says to her, look, she knows that she's probably mad and all this other stuff. Like, she understands those emotions, but she's still encouraging her to still try to figure something out, at least with your dad, because she's like, what I would give to have mine back. And I get it. I feel people when they come from that angle, when you're complaining or you have someone complaining about a parent to you, meanwhile, you don't have that parent yourself. Like, that's difficult to swallow. And you do want to step up and be a sounding board for somebody, but also a voice of reason, to say, listen, but this is still someone that created you. If you've had a relationship, off the rip, like, don't let it fall by the wayside over, I don't want to say this nonsensical situation, because listen, again, everyone's feelings are valid, but listen, we've seen folks get cut off for much worse. And it's like, this is something, because he's not supporting you, have the conversation with him. Like, it seems like it's something that's fixable. I could be wrong. I don't know the ins and outs. So, anyways, now we go to Teresa and Jen Aiden. They're meeting at Bill's treatment facility to get facials. So we switch scenes, and they keep switching back and forth between the two, where now we're at Margaret's house, and Marge Sr. is just kind of resting on the couch, and they let us know that she was recently hospitalized for achalasia, which I believe is something where your esophagus closes up or whatever the case. So anyways, she's doing great though. We're happy to hear. I really like Marge Sr. I always have. And she's pretty much Margaret is giving Marge Sr. just an update about the encounter in the locker room and what's been happening. So now we go back to Teresa and Jen Aiden. They call Jackie to see how she's feeling from that night before, kind of getting into it with Marge. And I could appreciate off the rip how Jackie let them know, like, yo, straight up, I'm not about to sit up here and talk about my friend to y'all. I already know what type of time y'all are on. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people can fall so easily into those kind of traps, especially when you're emotional or mad at your friend. So I can really go up for Jackie on that one. I respect her doing that a lot. And I feel like Jackie is just a person who's self-aware anyway when it comes to this group of women. So that goes a long way for her. But anyways, she just kind of shares her thoughts. She don't give them too much, but she gives them a little something, something, like a little just basic overview, nothing to where if Marge was to hear about it, she should be upset about it. Anyway, so Teresa goes to Danielle's house for a visit, right? And, she tells Teresa how she's stressed out about New York Fashion Week. And, Teresa's bought this bottle of liquor. And so immediately Danielle's ready to take some shots. And I was like, okay, sidebar. Did y'all see how motherfucking tall those shot glasses were? I'm like, yo, what are you trying to lace this out like on her first shot? Like, them things were so tall to me. It was like having like a full glass, 8 ounce of just straight up tequila, vodka, or whatever that was they're drinking. That was the equivalent because like I'm like that's too much. And even Teresa was just sipping it like, yeah, I can't drink all of this. Now Danielle took it down like a G. I ain't mad at her for it, but I was like just sweating just looking at them take the shot. But anywho's, so Danielle shows Teresa some of her clothing samples, that she'll be presenting during Fashion Week, and Teresa calls them basic. Now, for everybody out there who does not see it for Teresa, I know right off the bat, oh, Teresa was being shady. You see, that's why we don't like her, because she always got something, that she says that she shouldn't say, and then she tries to play dumb. No, I don't think she was being shady at all. I don't think she meant any harm, any foul, whatever the case. First of all, she lets us know that, she used to work for a department store. I don't know if she said Macy's or Bloomingdale's or one of those, and I should know because I remember her referencing it seasons back, but listen, y'all, my mind is just getting different these days. I can't remember everything. And so, she said that's just kind of what she was taught when she worked in like the design fashion department, that, basic is what sells. So if anything, I think that she was, putting Danielle on to game for the fact that, listen, this is going to do well. And to me, sometimes, listen, I'm that type of person. Simple goes a long way. And as the saying goes, sometimes keep it simple, stupid. So I can definitely see, just that doing well. I mean, they were cute, even as basic as they were cute. And again, if basic is what gets the job done, then let's go ahead and go basic. So, anyways, I know Danielle, she playfully advised that, she really didn't like hearing that. But again, Teresa was just trying to, I think she was being complimentary. She didn't realize that that would be offensive to Danielle. And again, like I said, there's no offensive asset to it once she explained it. But Teresa asked if the girls would be invited to Fashion Week. Now, here we go with the mess, right? Let me say that again. Teresa asked if the girls will be invited to Fashion Week, right? Now, Danielle says to Teresa's face that she's only inviting family because she don't have enough tickets. Meanwhile, in her confessional, she states she's not telling Teresa that she's inviting Melissa. And you think that's not going to cause a problem. Why? 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 Like, she says Melissa has been supportive and, Melissa allowed her to use her space at Envy and all of that. And I get it, right? I'm not disputing you inviting her. What I am disputing is the fact that you're sitting here before somebody you call friend and you're not disclosing that information to her and giving her a heads up when this is like her arch nemesis at the end of the day. Like, let's just keep it a bean. You know what I'm saying? I did not like that. And I said, let's talk about how Danielle easily blows with the wind, like I said before. Because if Teresa, again, is her friend and is sitting right there, why wouldn't you tell her? Like, how shady is that? And this is where I stand 10 toes down in the fact that, again, I feel like even when they were at the Shore House, in the prior episode, and Danielle's talking about what she don't like in a friend and this, that, and the, well, girl, we're not liking what you're doing right now. I don't like that in a friend. I don't like the fact that you call me friend and I call you friend, and the tension that's happening between me and how much has been brewing and my sister-in-law, and you can't even have the decency to let me know that you've at least invited her. You know what I'm saying? Even if you want to play it like, I understand, Melissa's not your favorite person, but I promise you it's not to slight you or anything like that. But she did let me use her store, and I just kind of want to show love in that sense because I appreciate her doing that. However, Teresa receives it, that's on her. And that must mean that you care way too much about Teresa receiving it some kind of way. Because if not, you would have just let her know. So I didn't really like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, let's just talk about you. While you were talking about how other people, let's talk about how you're moving right now. Not cool. But anyways, now when Teresa watches this back, oh, sis is going to be pissed. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, right? I get in times past, maybe on multiple occasions, some would say, and I would agree, maybe not all the time. In some instances, you're just like, okay, Teresa, like getting a little too worked up, or, I don't know if this is making all the sense in the world, but in this instance, I would be pissed too because I just think that's messed up. Like it's underhanded to me, and that's not cool. That's not it. So, anyways, she also says she heard that Jen Aiden was making fun of her and wasn't. When they went to Jen Aiden's house, and if anything, Jen Aiden was imitating her. And there is a difference between making fun of somebody and imitating somebody. Jen Aiden is an animated person. Like she's super theatrical and I can relate. I'm the same way, or I can be the same way. Listen, even I remember years ago, I used to work with this young lady and she used to always tell me when I would just imitate certain people, like, at our job or whatever case, she'd be like, girl, you missed your calling. And then even coming up, you know what I'm saying? When I was younger, just certain people I'd be around, I'd imitate the friends and they would die. It's just, but I didn't mean any harm by it. You're just reenacting what you see, to me, making fun of would be like ill, and she was doing all this, like what's wrong with her neck, she got a neck problem, is she retarded, is she this, is she that, you know what I'm saying? Like to me, that's when you start making fun of or whatever. But just to simply reenact and put all the energy behind it is not the same thing. So they roll the footage back to show Marge, of course, getting the party started because she's running her mouth. Yeah, Jen Fessler said that, Jen Aiden was making fun of. Marge, be quiet. Again, it's always you. And so, Danielle then brings up the feelings of being played by Jen Aiden, regarding the whole past spreading the cheating rumor about Melissa or whatever the case. And so she asked Teresa why Jen didn't tell her that Melissa already knew about the rumor. And Teresa pretty much was like, listen, I don't know. You'll have to ask her. And I'm going to give Teresa this mic drop moment when she said, when Jen told you, you didn't have to repeat it. And I said, church, and exactly facts. Keep it 100 and tell her what it is, Teresa, because that was my point. Who told you to repeat it? Who put anything to your head and told you you had to do this, girl? That was on you. You were looking for your star stellar moment, and it was a bad choice. It didn't work out for you. It backfired. Because even I remember that season and that episode, when they were staying in that castle out of the country. And I'm just like, why is she so pressed to release this information? Oh, she wants a moment. That's what it is. Because other than that, I'm like, girl, this was not your Kool-Aid to get all mixed up in. Like, mind yours. You just got here. Like, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes when these newbies come on, they be doing the most and they don't realize how crazy they look, but not a wise decision. And so, anyways, now we flash to Jen Aiden and Melissa meeting for lunch to talk. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward past that because we've been there, done this with them before. They're agreeing to move forward amicably, right? And now we know Teresa won't be thrilled about that, but I'm still staying 10 toes down in what I've been saying, even about Jen Fessler. Like, everybody has a right to do what they want to do because everybody is grown. And that's the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? I'm not changing my stance on that, and they have a right to change their minds no matter how deep a beef is amongst others. Like, if you feel like it has nothing to do with you or you've moved on, some people like to stay in stuff for an eternity. Some people rightfully so, right? Because certain situations you just can't move on from. That's fine. But again, that's you and that's your stance. Here's mine. So we differ. And because we differ, I'm going to see it a different way. We still going to hold each other down, but that's that on that. And I'm not going to beat a dead, excuse me, I'm not going to beat a situation, a horse, with the stick on that, because I keep saying the same thing, but that's just how sure I am about what I'm saying. But sidebar, for all the folks though that always felt that Jen Aiden was up Teresa's wazoo, I'm like, I hope y'all can have a much better appreciation now, for her standing on her own 2 feet, okay, and saying pretty much, listen, I love Teresa, she's my good friend, but I'm doing this right here. Like, I'm okay with us moving on. So we now go to Jen Fessler and Melissa meeting at Marge's house. Jen notices that Marge has been kind of off lately, and Marge admits that she's, just dealing with a lot, catching up finally to the 1 year anniversary of Jan's passing. And, she feels now it's affecting her relationship with Joe since, like, the puzzle is no longer complete. I guess when Jan was present, things just kind of ebbed and flowed, and now not so much. And like anything, it takes some adjusting to, and that's pretty much what she said in her sidebar confessional. But they're going through it right now. I think she's more snappy, and I'm sure there's things they're not seeing eye to eye on. So I'm sure he's feeling the effects. It's nothing that's going to, tear their marriage apart, from what she's implying. But, they're just going through a rough patch like all married couples do. And initially, I was going to use that as somewhat of an excuse for any crazy behavior we saw moving forward with Marge. Because I'm like, a lot of times when people have a lot going on, they take it out on others. Now, I don't agree with moving like that, but we know it's a thing. And then I said, no, I'm not, because Marge always gets unhinged and Marge has always been messy. So if anything, it might be heightened more, but Marge is still going to be operating in who Marge is, regardless. I didn't like either, though, in that scene, how Melissa sat there. Now, she was sitting there kind of being stank as it relates to Jen Aiden. Um, and excuse me, we'll say her imitation. Okay, if we don't want to say her making fun of, but I feel like her intent wasn't good. And it's like, see, you sat up in that lady's face and you told her that you're cool with y'all moving forward. Why would there be a need to have any stank energy after that? Either you're going to move on or you're not. And clearly, you're not ready to move on. And again, this is when the party gets started, because all that needs to happen is Jen Aiden to watch this episode, like, oh, really? And Jen will go straight to Instagram, and then there y'all go. And then you ain't gonna like what she says. And there we go. You know what I'm saying? Then we're back to square one. Like, come on, Melissa, like, get it together or forget it forever. But, anyways, let's talk about this freaking brunch. This brunch, y'all, OMG. Like, this brunch clearly, right? Excuse me. I just even sprouted that, y'all, because that's just how much I'm in this right now. This brunch is a foreshadowing of what's to come at Rails. So can you imagine? Like, I know we got a quick glimpse of glass being broken at Rails, but I can't even imagine some of the things that were said, right? And this brunch is without Marge being present, or Jen Fessler, but I'm gonna mainly say Marge because we know Marge gets it going. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ready for that Rails, y'all. Like, I'm really going to have to, like, I don't know. I got to mentally prepare for that, because I'm like, this brunch was a little crazy to me. So let's get into it, right? So the dress attire was glitter themed. My faves were Rachel and Dolores, hands down. I thought Rachel looked so cute from head to ankles because I couldn't see her toes. And we'll get past the small talk to the point of it all, right? Danielle starts off and she's asking Jen Aiden if Jen brought someone to her home who was talking smack about her. And they're referencing Lena, right? The hairstylist. And according to what we saw, Lena wasn't talking smack at all. She was just reiterating and telling the story of what happened at the event. Um, and we flash back to Marge telling Danielle. I'm just like, oh, if I see Marge one more time running her mouth, because I'm like, I've been over that, y'all, this season, like, for real, for real, for real. I picked up on the crumbs before with Marge in past season, but I feel like if my senses have been heightened more ever, it's been now. And it's really irritating me. And I'm like, you know how Sheree with the Atlanta girls was the bone collector? I'm like, clearly Marge is that. Marge is extremely messy. Sheree was too, but girl, Marge is on some next level, right? And Marge just don't rest. Marge does not take a break. Okay? And so Danielle agrees. She shunned Lena away. And she's like, of course, because I'm thinking, who is she? And I'm thinking that's whack. Because let me tell you who she is. She's someone that still paid her money to come to support your event, to show up for you. Okay, that's who she is. And my thing is, I understand if you don't know her like that, or you weren't close to her like that, to have her in the VIP lounge. But there's a way you could have handled that with much more style, class, and grace than you did. And if I were her, I would never show up to any of your events again either, unless you apologize to me for it. I would give you another opportunity to act like you got some sense. But girl, that's why you acted that way. No, ma'am, that does not work for me. And I hope that Lena saw this, or it gets wind or caught back to her, so she can know what type of stuff Danielle is on, so she can not spend her money again and put her money to good use for something else. And so Sidebar, did y'all see all the faces that Melissa kept making every time Teresa spoke? And I'm like, again, for somebody who does not see it for Teresa, this lady, like, to the depths of your soul, the core of your heart, and everything else, the fiber of your being, why you gotta sit here and make all these faces? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, can we start to learn how to act a little bit more unbothered, Melissa? Please. Like, you're killing me. Like, I think if she gave the stone face energy, that would be fabulous, right? And I'm not going to act like I'm totally oblivious to the fact that, listen, there's history there. Clearly, there's still hurt there. But it came out of your mouth, right, at the onset of this season that you don't want no parts two or you don't want to talk about it. It's a done deal. So I would like to think maybe there should have been some healing in there, somewhere to take place to where you don't have nothing for this woman. You have nothing for her. Like, if you're not even gonna look her way, then don't make faces. Like, that started getting on my nerves a whole lot because I'm like, okay, maybe once, twice, but she just kept going and going and going. And I'm like, girl. So I'm gonna go ahead and get on Jen Fester right quick. If she did use the words that Jen Aiden was making fun of Danielle, because we know that's not true. Danielle again was merely just being Jen Aiden was just merely being Jen Aiden and being, like I said, theatrical like she always is. Let's speak on Danielle's character again though, okay, in this moment. And this is why, and I think I said in my last review that I did, I don't know how I'm feeling about Danielle. Like, I'm side eyeing her. And that side eyeing is really like about to be me writing her off soon and very soon. Because I don't like how she's getting down, y'all. I really don't. And so she then asked Teresa and Jen Aiden if they set her up with regards to her, disclosing the cheating rumor with Melissa. Now, Danielle, Teresa was just at your house prior to that scene. So, with that being said, being so you expressed your concerns when she was at your house about Janaden, and y'all were already on that subject and topic, why you ain't just ask her then? Why you wait till you get in front of all these ladies to ask that question? Okay, girl, I'm peeping you. I'm peeping you. I'm taking the mental notes. I see you. And so Jen says no. Teresa gets annoyed. And in her confessional, Teresa says it's obvious that Danielle has Marge and Melissa in her ear. And I agree. And there's probably going to be people that don't agree with me on that. But I definitely agree. Especially, I feel like that was evident, a few minutes later when Jackie and Melissa kind of go back and forth a little bit. And Melissa knows some stop it or stop it right or whatever she said. I'm like, girl, like, you could tell, like, nah, Melissa. And especially, too, you haven't seen it for Teresa, and yeah, Melissa definitely has been talking. I mean, that's not hard to figure out. So I can see her being for sure in Danielle's ear as well. And we saw a little bit of it, right? Didn't they do a flashback where they were at some event and Melissa said something to the tune of, pretty much saying that they set her up. And I'm like, girl, do you know that for a fact or you're just going with your emotion? Okay. Anyways, so Teresa feels, if anything, that Marge set her and Jen up. And I was like, again, that's not far fetched. She says she's the root of all evil. And I said, well, she's not the root of all evil. She's still the root of things for sure. Because Marge is always in the mix. Marge is always spreading something, telling something. Like they say, throwing the rock, hiding her hand, dropping the bomb, and then walking away. And then, oh, what happened? What I miss? Girl, you missed what you just did. You know what I'm saying? But did it through someone else. Like, that's what you did. Stop it with the games, Marge. I've had enough of you. And so Jen Aiden asked Jackie about the joint with Marge and, at the baseball game. And Teresa automatically tells Jackie that Marge doesn't care about her. Now I said, okay, now Teresa, I don't think that's true, right? I think they still were, at least prior to that part, good friends, right? So Melissa chimes in and she was like, don't believe that. So I'm going to give her that. I don't think, I think if anything, again, Marge has just been operating off the fact that she's not feeling these changes with her, as she would say, so-called friends, right? They're switching to the other side. They're giving what Marge will consider this evil walking woman a chance when it's, pretty much laughable. It's deplorable to want to be associated, according to Marge, with someone like Teresa, right? Whatever, again, Marge has concocted, in my opinion, it's not playing out all the way like she would like for it to. Now, she might have the fans going. I'll give her that. But for the ones that really see what time it is, like myself, she doesn't. And so it's starting to fall by the wayside. And on top of that, she's losing her good friends. So she feels, to this woman who, you know what I mean? It's a complete nah for her. So I just think Marge is in her feelings and it's coming out. Because like I said, even going back to the whole book thing and her not getting a copy, I'm just like, Marge, like, relax. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I saw some quick interview. I stumbled across that Jackie had, I want to say it was with ET Online again, because they're posting a lot of these things online. And, Jackie was saying she actually did get a copy. It wasn't like the, I think soft covered copy, something retarded. And I'm like, see, exactly. So you're almost like not deflecting, but it's like you're making a mountain out of a molehill because there's deeper issues at bay. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's again, you just don't see it for Jackie with Teresa at the end of the day. So, anyways, Jackie says she's not on anyone's side and is pretty much doing her. She'll be friends with whoever she wants to. And I was like, yes, girl, because that's what adults do. And oh boy, I'm like, why? Why did Danielle then ask Rachel Fuda if she's spoken to Teresa? Yeah, and I'm like, Danielle, girl, oh, and that's when my heart pretty much dropped down to my toes. And I'm like, you literally just threw a lit match on a can of gasoline. But okay, let's go. So Rachel says no. And Teresa says she didn't want to talk about it in front of everyone, but yet proceeds to talk about it in front of everyone. And they start going back and forth about the whole, allegations with John Fuda and the whole Bergen County situation. And Rachel says, Louis not so Louis got way more exes talking than John Fuda does, which she was right. I gave it. I was like, okay, catch. That was a line. Okay. But where she was incorrect is when she said that Teresa hasn't built a life for herself outside of being incarcerated. And I'm like, okay, excuse me, Rachel, at this point, you are very strong and very wrong. Because again, take her or leave her, like her or love her, whatever you feel about Teresa, whatever you feel about Teresa, that woman is a mother of all mothers, and she definitely has gotten out and grinded and put her life back together for her and her daughter. So what you talking about? Like, what are you saying, girl? What are you saying? Now you sound crazy. Now you was on a roll at first, sounding a little cute, but then you just like that was the record stop right there, the record scratch. Girl, no, that wasn't it. And so she also makes some comment like to Teresa, and even with John, he made bad decisions when he was younger. You're an adult making bad decisions. And I'm like, sis, newsflash, you make decisions that are bad at all ages. Okay? Young, old, in between, super old, it doesn't matter. And I ain't even gonna lie too, before Teresa even said it, I thought to myself, again, Rachel just sounds so immature, and then Teresa said it. And I said, she just has to live a little longer, clearly, to understand some things. And so per Jackie, who was correct, Melissa was trying to convince her to get annoyed all over again. Because remember, then they start going back and forth at the table about Teresa. She wanted her to get mad again about Teresa spreading the lies and the rumor when it came to Jackie's husband, Evan cheating on her. And we remember that whole season and how that played out. And so I love how Jackie held her own again and was like, Melissa, stop. I see what you're doing right now. And, pretty much we ain't doing that, to cause the divide again between, Jackie and Teresa. And Melissa was definitely giving that kind of energy. I know y'all peeped it. I know I ain't crazy. I know y'all synced it. I know you did. And I'm just like, this is bad by any means necessary. Like, these ladies, they are just really in such a bad space. And while, yes, we like to be entertained, I like when people can move past stuff. I like when people can make up, or if they can't make up, then at least come to some type of understanding that they're going to move on in a healthy fashion with or without each other. And so to watch this just transpire how it is, y'all, it's hard. I'm like, oh my God, because I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, at the end of the day, we've seen seasons, few far and in between, and I can particularly remember more of the later seasons where Melissa and Teresa would get along and it'd be so cute. You know what I'm saying? Like they'd be the best of sister-in-laws. And I wish it were that for them, right? Or the fact that or for the fact that, when Rachel Fuda and Danielle Cabral came on the scene, like I think collectively as fans, we really liked them, right? They were a breath of fresh air. They were giving what they need to give, and all of that. And it's like it would have been nice for all the women to just embrace them and they all be in a better space. But now you got this hard beef, with Rachel and Teresa, and now Danielle's starting to go a different direction, so it just sucks, because you wish it wasn't what it was, but it's bad, y'all. And we all could see it, right? We got two eyes to see. And so, anyways, Danielle says she finds a new relationship between Teresa and Jackie comical. And she kept reiterating that, Jackie is dogging her from Melissa out. Like, you're dogging her out, dogging her out. She was like, for somebody who went so hard for their friend. And that's true, right? Jackie definitely did. And I think to some degree, obviously they still have a relationship. And I don't know if I should say that Jackie probably still goes hard because, like, how can she when there's this obvious issue with her now being okay with Teresa? We know Melissa's not okay with that. And so that's going to put a strain on the friendship. And obviously, if it hasn't, it will, so it was just again hard to watch because it is starting to become a little like, wow, this is really happening, but at any rate, so sidebar, Danielle's party favors were cute. I really did like those a lot. Teresa ends up leaving because she says that, her daughter has a volleyball game. And so Dolores tells Rachel it's going to take Teresa a few days to just kind of settle on what transpired. She was like, oh, but when she does, she was like, you're going to feel her wrath again. Her wrath will come. And pretty much Rachel's just on some, I don't care. And I ain't going to lie to you, I don't blame her. Because again, as a grown woman, it's like, you're telling me this because why? Am I supposed to be shaking in my boots? Am I supposed to go into, witness protection program? Like, what do you mean? And clearly we know Rachel is already on ready. So she'll be ready any time of day for what Teresa throws at her because she's just obviously, again, the disdain is just too heavy. So it was like, all right, Dolores, I hear you. Maybe Dolores was just putting that out as an FYI, but girl, that means nothing to a lot of people, sometimes. And so I think she could have saved that and just let everything play out exactly how it's going to. And we will see that it's going to be a real crap show. You know what I'm saying? Moving forward. So y'all, this is just, it's peaking. It's getting my nerves bad. It's getting my cholesterol up because it's just too much happening. So telling y'all right now, don't be that person at the party holding up the wall when you could be on the dance floor because you feel it in your blood and you want to get down. Please, y'all, get in those comments. Don't be sitting there staring at that empty comment box when you know you could be spilling some more tea you done heard, giving your thoughts on what I've said, sharing your own thoughts to make it make sense for me. Because even in the comments that I received so far, little as it may be, and again, as appreciative as I am, they've still given me food for thought and something to think about, and they've reminded me of certain things. Because listen, you watch 14 seasons of a show, that's a lot to keep up with. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes y'all can fill me in, correct me when I'm wrong, let me know when I'm right. Love it all. Okay, y'all. But it's crazy. It's crazy. But I'll be back. I'll be back to, you know what I'm saying? I'll be back to chat it up with y'all for sure, have this party time together because it's crazy. And clearly we need each other. We need each other because it's getting rough out here, y'all, in these New Jersey streets. But anyways, y'all, in the meantime, y'all stay blessed. And I will see y'all again in the next review. Okay, I'm out. Peace.